Welcome to Curious Atlas, where history's greatest stories come to life. Today, we journey through time to uncover the incredible story of one of history's most influential figures. From his rise to power to the legacy he left behind, this is the tale of a person who shaped the world as we know it. Who is he? What drove him? And how did his actions echo through the ages? Join us as we dive into the remarkable life of a figure whose impact is still felt today. From a small island in the Mediterranean to the grandest courts of Europe, Napoleon Bonaparte was born not just to lead, but to conquer. From the moment he took his first breath, his life was destined to be extraordinary. But how did a boy from humble beginnings rise to reshape the world? Let's journey back in time to Corsica, 1769. On August 15, 1769, Napoleon Bonaparte was born to a modest but ambitious family in Ajaccio. Corsica, an island newly under French rule, was a land between revolution and tradition. For young Napoleon, these were more than just turbulent political times. They were the forces that shaped his identity. Napoleon's father, Carlo Bonaparte, was a lawyer and a minor nobleman, but his mother, Letizia, shaped his fiery spirit. From an early age, Napoleon learned to navigate life's complexities with the ambition to rise above his station. As a boy, Napoleon was known for his intense focus and stubborn will. He dreamed of glory and greatness. The rocky cliffs of Corsica became his first battlefield, where he played at war, already strategizing like a general. At the age of 9, Napoleon left Corsica for the French mainland. He was enrolled in the prestigious military academy at Brienne-le-Château. Though he was far from home, the young Corsican refused to be forgotten. At Brienne, Napoleon stood out, not just for his strange accent and small stature, but for his exceptional intellect. He immersed himself in mathematics, history, and military theory, sharpening his mind like a blade ready for battle. His classmates mocked him, but Napoleon didn't care. He knew something they didn't. He wasn't just learning to be a soldier. He was preparing to become a legend. By the time he was 16, Napoleon had graduated as a second lieutenant in the French army. France was in the midst of a revolution, and Napoleon's talents were about to be tested. In the crucible of revolution, Napoleon found his calling. He quickly rose through the ranks, not just by following orders, but by showing audacity, vision, and unmatched courage. In the siege of Toulon, he showcased his tactical brilliance, securing a major victory for the revolutionaries and putting himself on the map. Word spread fast. The young Corsican officer was not just a soldier, he was a commander, a leader, and perhaps even a future ruler. But Napoleon wasn't just a man of the battlefield. He was a strategist in every aspect of his life. He knew that power wasn't only won in war, but also in the corridors of influence. He cultivated relationships with powerful figures in France, always playing the long game. By 1799, after a decade of revolution, France was in chaos. Napoleon seized the moment. Through a coup d'état, he became first consul, the de facto leader of France. But for him, this was just the beginning. Napoleon's ambition was not to simply rule France. He dreamed of an empire, a new order across Europe, one that he would shape with his own hands. At 35, Napoleon crowned himself emperor, a bold act that symbolized his belief that he was the master of his destiny. In the coming years, he would lead his armies across Europe, toppling kingdoms and reshaping entire nations. But as we'll explore, Napoleon's meteoric rise was met with fierce opposition. His thirst for conquest would lead him to face some of the greatest challenges of his life. Napoleon Bonaparte, born on a small island and destined to leave a colossal footprint on the world. From the rocky shores of Corsica to the grand halls of Europe, his story was just beginning. But like all empires, even his would one day fall. Napoleon's rise was followed by a great fall. After years of domination and war across Europe, his relentless ambition led to devastating defeats. After his disastrous invasion of Russia in 1812 and subsequent defeats, Napoleon was forced to abdicate in 1814 and was exiled to the island of Elba. However, in March 1815, he escaped and returned to France, regaining power during what is known as the 100 Days, leading to a renewed conflict with the European powers. Facing a coalition of British, Dutch, and Prussian forces under the Duke of Wellington and Field Marshal Blücher, Napoleon aimed to defeat them before they could unite. The battle took place near the village of Waterloo in Belgium. Napoleon's army was about 72,000 men, mostly veterans of previous campaigns, but lacking the strength and cohesion of earlier years. But the Allied forces were 68,000 troops under the command of the Duke of Wellington, British, Dutch, Belgian troops, and 50,000 Prussians under Field Marshal Gebhard von Blücher. Napoleon's goal was to defeat Wellington and Blücher separately before they could unite their armies, thereby preventing them from overwhelming him with superior numbers. On the morning of June 18, 1815, Napoleon faced off against Wellington near the village of Waterloo, about 15 kilometers south of Brussels in present-day Belgium. The battlefield was muddy due to heavy rain the previous night, which delayed Napoleon's attack until midday. Napoleon first attacked Wellington's forces, positioning them along a ridge. He ordered an assault on the fortified farmhouse of Hougoumont, a key position, but despite repeated efforts, French troops failed to capture it. By mid-afternoon, Napoleon believed he could break Wellington's forces and sent a large cavalry charge, some 9,000 cavalrymen, against the British squares. These infantry squares were tight formations that successfully repelled repeated cavalry attacks, despite the brutal close-quarters combat. At the same time, Napoleon's right flank faced pressure from the Prussian army, which had started arriving on the battlefield. Although Napoleon had dispatched troops to slow the Prussian advance, they were unable to stop Field Marshal Blücher's determined forces. Late in the afternoon, with his forces weakened and the Prussians threatening from the east, Napoleon launched his last gamble, sending in his elite Imperial Guard, the most experienced and loyal soldiers in his army, to break Wellington's lines. The Imperial Guard advanced, but for the first time in Napoleon's career, they were repelled. Wellington's troops, who had been holding in defensive positions, launched a counterattack. The sight of the Guard retreating sent shockwaves through the French army, and morale collapsed. The rest of Napoleon's forces began to retreat, with many fleeing the battlefield in panic. As the Prussians linked up with Wellington's forces, the battle was decisively won. Napoleon's army was shattered, and he was forced to flee. The defeat at Waterloo marked the end of his reign as Emperor of the French. Just 4 days later, on June 22, 1815, Napoleon abdicated for the second and final time. Why was Waterloo significant? End of the Napoleonic Wars. Waterloo marked the end of over 2 decades of conflict that had engulfed Europe. End of Napoleon's reign. This was the final downfall of Napoleon Bonaparte, who had once dominated Europe and reshaped nations. Shifting power in Europe. Following Napoleon's defeat, the Congress of Vienna redrew the map of Europe and restored the balance of power, with the monarchies of Europe seeking to prevent another figure like Napoleon from emerging. Waterloo became a symbol of ultimate defeat and the end of an era, forever marking Napoleon as one of history's most iconic figures, both for his conquests and his downfall. On the island of St. Helena, a remote British territory in the South Atlantic Ocean, here, far from the glory and power he once wielded, Napoleon spent his final days in isolation under British supervision. He dictated his memoirs, reflecting on the battles won, the empires built, and the countless lives changed by his vision. On May 5, 1821, at the age of 51, Napoleon Bonaparte, The man who had once been feared by kings and emperors took his final breath. His exact cause of death remains debated, but it is generally believed to have been from stomach cancer, though some theories suggest possible poisoning. His last words, France, army, head of the army, Josephine, spoke of the two things that had driven him throughout his life: his love for France and his eternal quest for glory. Though he died in exile, Napoleon's legacy would live on, not only in history, but in the hearts of the French people. His body was later returned to France, where he now rests in Les Invalides, a symbol of both the triumphs and tragedies of an extraordinary life. Let's unravel the myths surrounding Napoleon Bonaparte and separate fact from fiction. You've probably heard stories about the French emperor, like the idea that Napoleon was unusually short or that he was always obsessed with world domination. But how much of this is true? Myth number 1. Napoleon was incredibly short. First up, one of the most popular myths. Napoleon was super short. This myth has stuck around for centuries, so much so that the term Napoleon complex is used to describe men with a short stature and a big attitude. But here's the truth. Napoleon was average height. For his time, standing at about 5 feet 6 inches or 5 feet 7 inches, 1.68 meters, he wasn't exactly a giant, but he wasn't the tiny tyrant some make him out to be. Confusion arose because of differences between French and English measurements. The British, Napoleon's enemies, often mocked his height as part of their propaganda. Myth number 2. Napoleon was obsessed with world domination. Next, there's the idea that Napoleon's only goal was to conquer the world. Sure, he expanded France's empire significantly, but was he out to dominate the entire globe? Historically, Napoleon's ambitions were focused on Europe. He sought to spread the ideals of the French Revolution: liberty, equality, fraternity, but often through military conquest. It wasn't world domination in the sense we think of today, more like reshaping Europe according to French values. Let's not forget that he crowned himself emperor in 1804, so there's no denying he enjoyed power. But the idea that he wanted to take over the entire world is more myth than reality. Myth number 3. Napoleon always wore his iconic hat backwards. Ah yes, the famous hat. You've probably seen Napoleon's bicorn hat in hundreds of depictions, but there's a quirky myth that he wore it backward to stand out. Is that true? It's not true. Napoleon wore his hat sideways, not backwards. It was his signature style, a unique way to distinguish himself on the battlefield. Many officers wore their bicorn hats pointing forward, but Napoleon made a fashion statement by wearing it differently. It helped his soldiers and allies recognize him in the heat of battle. Myth number 4. Napoleon was poisoned during his exile on St. Helena. Now let's tackle a darker myth. Some believe Napoleon was poisoned during his exile on the remote island of St. Helena. His death in 1821 has been the subject of conspiracy theories for centuries. So, what happened? While traces of arsenic were found in Napoleon's hair, modern scientists believe this was due to environmental factors, not murder. Most historians now agree that Napoleon likely died of stomach cancer, which was a common cause of death in his family. So, the poisoning theory doesn't hold up. Myth number 5. Napoleon Bonaparte is still revered as a hero in France. Finally, there's a belief that Napoleon is still widely viewed as a hero in France. But the reality is a little more complicated. While some French citizens see Napoleon as a brilliant military leader who shaped modern Europe, others criticize him for reinstating slavery in French colonies and his authoritarian rule. Napoleon's legacy in France is a mixed one. He's admired by many, but viewed critically by others. Napoleon Bonaparte's story is full of myths, some amusing, some dark, but all fascinating. So, as we've seen today, Napoleon Bonaparte's life was a testament to the power of ambition, intellect, and sheer will. His rise from an island boy to an emperor changed the world forever. His name is etched in history as one of the greatest military leaders of all time. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Napoleon. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and click the bell to never miss an episode. And let us know in the comments, what other historical figures would you like us to debunk?